Anna was driving home from work when her phone rang. She glanced at the screen and saw it was her husband, Mark. She smiled and answered. "Hey, honey. How was your day?" "Hi, Anna. Listen, I need to tell you something. Something important." Anna sensed the urgency in his voice and felt a pang of worry. "What is it? Is everything okay?" "I don't have much time to explain. Just promise me you'll do what I say, okay?" "Mark, you're scaring me. What's going on?" "Please, Anna. Just trust me. I love you more than anything." "I love you too, Mark. Now tell me what's happening." Mark took a deep breath and said, "I need you to go to the police station right now. Tell them your name and that you're my wife. They'll know what to do." Anna felt a surge of confusion and fear. "What? Why? Mark, what are you talking about?" "I can't explain right now. Just do it, Anna. Please. It's the only way to keep you safe." "Safe from what?" "Mark, please, talk to me." "I'm sorry, Anna. I have to go. I'll call you later. I love you. Mark." Mark. But he had already hung up. Anna stared at her phone in disbelief. She had no idea what was going on, but she knew something was very wrong. She decided to follow Mark's instructions and go to the police station. Maybe they could tell her what was happening. She turned her car around and headed for the nearest police station. She hoped Mark was okay and that this was all some kind of misunderstanding. She arrived at the police station and parked her car. She grabbed her phone and purse and got out of the car. She walked towards the entrance, feeling nervous and anxious. She entered the building and approached the reception desk. A uniformed officer greeted her. "Hello, ma'am. How can I help you?" "Hi, I'm Anna Jones. I'm here because my husband told me to come here. He said you would know what to do." The officer looked puzzled. "Your husband? What's his name?" "Mark Jones. He's a journalist for the Daily News." The officer's expression changed from confusion to shock. "Mark Jones? The one who wrote the exposé on the mayor's corruption scandal?" "Yes, that's him. Do you know him?" The officer nodded. "I know of him. He's been making a lot of enemies lately with his articles." Anna felt a chill run down her spine. "What do you mean? What kind of enemies?" The officer hesitated. "Well, let's just say he's been digging up some dirt on some powerful people. People who don't like being exposed." Anna felt a surge of fear. "Are you saying someone is after him? Someone wants to hurt him?" The officer nodded again. "That's exactly what I'm saying. And not just him. You too." Anna gasped. "Me? Why me? What did I do?" The officer shook his head. "You didn't do anything, ma'am. You're just collateral damage. You're his wife, after all." Anna felt tears sting her eyes. "What are you saying? What's going to happen to us?" The officer sighed. "I don't know, ma'am. But we're doing everything we can to protect you and your husband." He reached for his phone and dialed a number. "Hey, it's me. I have Anna Jones here with me." "Yeah, Mark Jones' wife. She just came in like he told her to." He paused and listened to the other person on the line. "What? Are you sure? When did this happen?" He paused again and his face turned pale. Oh God. Okay. Okay. Thanks for letting me know. He hung up the phone and looked at Anna with a grim expression. I'm sorry, ma'am. I have some bad news for you. Anna felt her heart sink. What is it? What happened? The officer took a deep breath and said, Your husband. He's dead. Anna felt a wave of shock and grief wash over her. She couldn't believe what she had just heard. Her husband, her love, her life, was gone. Just like that. She collapsed on the floor and sobbed uncontrollably. The officer tried to comfort her, but she pushed him away. She didn't want his sympathy. She wanted her husband back. She cried for what seemed like an eternity. She didn't care about anything else. She didn't care about the police station, the people around her, or the danger she was in. She only cared about Mark. She wondered why he had called her. Why he had told her to go to the police station. What was he trying to tell her? What was he hiding from her? She reached for her phone and looked at the last call from Mark. She pressed play and listened to his voice again. Hi, Anna. Listen, I need to tell you something. Something important. She paused the recording and wiped her tears. She decided to listen to the rest of the message. Maybe there was a clue in his words. Maybe there was a way to find out what had happened to him. She pressed play again and listened carefully. I don't have much time to explain. Just promise me you'll do what I say, okay? She nodded, even though he couldn't see her. Please, Anna. Just trust me. I love you more than anything. She whispered, I love you too, Mark. I need you to go to the police station right now. Tell them your name and that you're my wife. They'll know what to do. She frowned. Why did he want her to go to the police station? What did they know? I can't explain right now. Just do it, Anna. Please. It's the only way to keep you safe. Safe from what? Who was after them? I'm sorry, Anna. I have to go. I'll call you later. I love you. The recording ended. Anna felt a surge of anger and frustration. He didn't explain anything. He didn't tell her anything useful. He just left her in the dark. She looked at the officer and demanded, What did he mean by that? What did he want me to do here? What did you know? The officer looked at her with pity and said, I'm sorry, ma'am. I don't know much either. Your husband was working on a big story that could have exposed some very dangerous people. He said he had evidence that could prove their crimes and bring them down. Anna felt a spark of hope. Evidence? Where is it? Can I see it? The officer shook his head. I don't know where it is, ma'am. He never told me. He said he had hidden it somewhere safe and that he would reveal it when the time was right. Anna felt a surge of desperation. Then we have to find it. We have to find his evidence and expose those bastards who killed him. The officer nodded. I agree, ma'am. But we don't have much time. They're probably looking for you too. Anna felt a chill run down her spine. Who are they? Who killed my husband? The officer hesitated. Well, ma'am, it's a long story. But let's just say they're very powerful and very ruthless. Anna felt a surge of curiosity and fear. Tell me their names. The officer sighed and said, Okay, ma'am. But brace yourself, because you're not going to like what you hear. He leaned closer and whispered in her ear. The ones who killed your husband. They're the mayor and his wife. Anna felt a shock of disbelief and horror. She couldn't believe what she had just heard. The mayor and his wife? The ones who were supposed to serve and protect the city? The ones who had been praised and admired by everyone? They were the ones who had killed her husband? She looked at the officer and asked, "Are you sure? How do you know?" The officer nodded. "I'm sure, ma'am. Your husband had proof. He showed me some of it before he died." Anna felt a surge of curiosity and anger. What kind of proof? What did they do? The officer sighed and said, "They did a lot of things, ma'am. Things that would make your blood boil. They were involved in corruption, bribery, extortion, blackmail, drug trafficking, human trafficking, murder. You name it, they did it." Anna felt sick to her stomach. How could they get away with all that? How could no one stop them? The officer shook his head. They had a lot of power and influence, ma'am. They had connections in high places. They had money and resources. They had loyal followers and hired thugs. They had dirt on everyone who could oppose them. They were untouchable. Anna felt a surge of determination and courage. Not anymore. Not if we expose them. Not if we show the world their true faces. The officer nodded. That's right, ma'am. That's what your husband wanted to do. That's why he died. Anna felt a surge of sadness and love. Then we have to honor his memory. We have to finish his work. We have to find his evidence and bring them down. The officer nodded again. I agree, ma'am. But we have to be careful. They're probably looking for us right now. They won't hesitate to kill us too. Anna felt a surge of fear and adrenaline. Then let's go. Let's get out of here. Let's find a safe place to hide and plan our next move. The officer nodded for the third time. Okay, ma'am. Let's go. He grabbed his gun and badge and led her to the back door. He looked around and saw no one was watching. He opened the door and said, "Come on, ma'am. Follow me." Anna followed him out of the door and into the alley behind the police station. She hoped they would make it out alive. She hoped they would find her husband's evidence. She hoped they would expose the mayor and his wife. She hoped they would get justice for Mark. She hoped they would end this nightmare. She hoped. But she didn't know that the officer was lying to her, that he was working for the mayor and his wife, that he was leading her into a trap, that he was going to kill her too. The officer led Anna to a car parked in the alley. He opened the door and said, "Get in, ma'am. We have to hurry." Anna got in the car and buckled her seatbelt. She looked at the officer and asked, "Where are we going?" The officer got in the driver's seat and started the engine. "We're going to a safe house, ma'am. A place where we can hide and plan our next move." Anna nodded. "Okay. How far is it?" The officer smiled. "Not far, ma'am. Just a few minutes away." He drove out of the alley and onto the street. He turned on the radio and tuned it to a news station. He said, "Let's see what they're saying about us." Anna listened to the radio and heard a familiar voice. It was the mayor. He was giving a press conference. He sounded calm and confident. He said, "My fellow citizens, I'm sure you've all heard the tragic news by now. A brave and dedicated journalist, Mark Jones, was killed today by an unknown assailant. His wife, Anna Jones, is missing and presumed kidnapped by the same killer. The police are doing everything they can to find them and bring them to justice." Anna felt a surge of rage and disgust. She said, "He's lying. He's the killer. He's the one who killed Mark and kidnapped me." The officer nodded. "I know, ma'am. I know. He's a liar and a murderer. But don't worry. We'll expose him soon enough." He reached for his phone and dialed a number. He said, "Hey, boss. It's me. I have her with me." Yeah, she fell for it. She thinks I'm on her side. She has no idea. Where do you want me to take her? Okay. Got it. See you soon. He hung up the phone and looked at Anna. He said, "Sorry, ma'am. I had to check in with my partner. He's waiting for us at the safe house." Anna nodded. "Okay. Is he trustworthy?" The officer smiled. "Of course, ma'am. He's one of us. He's on our side." Anna smiled back. "Good. I'm glad we have allies in this fight." She didn't notice the officer's smile turn into a smirk. She didn't notice the car was heading towards a deserted warehouse. She didn't notice the trap was closing in on her. She didn't notice until it was too late. The officer drove the car into the warehouse and parked it. He got out of the car and opened the door for Anna. He said, "Come on, ma'am. We're here." Anna got out of the car and looked around. She saw a large and empty space filled with crates and barrels. She saw no sign of anyone else. She said, "Where's your partner? Where's the safe house?" The officer grabbed her arm and pulled her towards a door. He said, "He's inside, ma'am. Come on. Let's go." Anna felt a pang of doubt and fear. She said, "Wait a minute. Something's not right. This doesn't look like a safe house. This looks like a..." She stopped as the door opened and she saw who was waiting for them. It was the mayor's wife. She was holding a gun. She smiled wickedly and said, "Hello, Anna. Welcome to your final destination." Anna felt a shock of terror and disbelief. She couldn't believe what she was seeing. The mayor's wife? The one who had pretended to be her friend? The one who had invited her to dinner and parties? She looked at the officer and realized he was in on it too. He had betrayed her. He had lied to her. He had led her into a trap. She felt a surge of anger and hatred. She said, You monsters. How could you do this? How could you kill Mark? How could you kidnap me? How could you be so evil?" The mayor's wife laughed and said, "Oh, Anna. You're so naive. You don't understand anything, do you? We didn't do this because we're evil. We did this because we're smart. We did this because we're powerful. We did this because we can." She cocked the gun and pointed it at Anna's head. She said, "Your husband was a fool. He thought he could expose us. He thought he could ruin us. He thought he could stop us. He was wrong. He only made us stronger. He only made us more determined. He only made us more ruthless. She pulled the trigger and shot Anna in the head. Anna fell to the ground, dead. The mayor's wife smiled and said, "And you, Anna? You were a pawn. You were a tool. You were a distraction. You were nothing. You only served one purpose, to lure your husband out of hiding and into our hands." She turned to the officer and said, "Good job, darling. You played your part well." The officer smiled and said, "Thank you, honey. You too." They kissed and hugged. They said, "We did it. We killed them both. We got rid of them for good." They laughed and celebrated. They didn't notice the red light blinking on Anna's phone. They didn't notice the recording that was playing on the other end of the line. They didn't notice the voice that was saying, "Hello? Hello? Is anyone there? This is Detective Smith from the FBI. I'm calling to inform you that we have received your husband's evidence and we have enough proof to arrest the mayor and his wife for multiple crimes, including murder. We're on our way to their location right now. Please stay where you are and don't do anything rash. We'll be there soon." They didn't notice until it was too late.